Hey everybody, it's Mike from GoAvance, and today I have a great crew with me today as we talk about optimizing your Amazon presence in international markets. You have myself, I'm going to be talking about how to optimize your e-commerce success in Brazil and Mexico. We have Alina, who's going to be talking about boosting your Amazon sales worldwide, simple steps to better rankings. We have Hristo, who's going to be talking about make them love you on Amazon around the globe, making customers love you, that is. Saif's going to be talking about how to organize an Amazon team to manage multiple markets successfully. And finally, Tahir is going to be talking about optimizing pricing as it relates to Amazon, and also how you can look beyond Amazon. And after that, if we have time, we will have a Q&A session. So if you have any questions that come up, please feel free to submit them into the chat or in the Q&A section. I'll be going first, and I'm going to share my screen. I'll be talking about Latin America. One second. And here we go. All right. So as I mentioned, we'll be talking about how to win in Brazil and Mexico. Brazil and Mexico are two of the fastest growing marketplaces around the world, where we put a lot of focus at GoAvance and helping brands from the US, from other parts of the world, get into these fast growing markets. A little bit about us. What we do is, like I said, we help brands expand to Latin America. We help with everything from logistics and digital marketing and keeping your brand ahead of the trends that are coming in the marketplaces. This allows you to really get ahead of a lot of other brands that might be dominating markets you're currently in. Latin America is pretty much wide open now, and the brands that focus on getting in there are going to have a lot of success later on. Today, I'm going to be talking about three main things, different marketing strategies you can use, how to handle last mile delivery and fulfillment of orders, and then how loyalty. The first thing that we need to consider when we're expanding to Latin America is localized content. This is important for a variety of different reasons. First of all, Spanish and Portuguese are the two main languages spoken in Latin America. Spanish is different in each country in Latin America. They have different words, different meanings. There's words in Mexican Spanish that have a very bad meaning in other countries in Latin America. So you need to make sure that you're localizing your content for the marketplace. So that being said, you want to work with local translators to make sure that everything is correctly spelled, or with a company like us to make sure that we have the correct terminology in all of your listings. We also want to make sure that we are tailoring content to cultural norms and preferences. And what I mean by this is making sure that you are using models within your photos, if they're lifestyle photos, or even if you're using any type of landscape photo or anything, you want to make sure that it's localized for the market you're actually in. You don't want to be using photos of the US or of Canada in Mexico or Brazil. It doesn't have the same importance or the same value, or people aren't going to connect to it the same way. Likewise, you also want to use individuals or people in the photos or models that are going to look like the people of that country. And that's why it's really important to consider how to localize your imagery for the culture itself. And then finally, you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of local events, holidays, and other going-ons in the country. That's going to help you obviously optimize from a promotional standpoint, but how to take advantage of those sales periods, or reference that in the content that you're putting out. And that's going to lead to more sales for your brand over time. Next, we're going to be talking about building brand awareness, because this is where a lot of brands struggle when they're getting into a new market, and even brands struggling to go into other marketplaces probably experience this. In Latin America, DSP is one of the things that we recommend the most for launching your advertising campaigns in Amazon in Amazon in Mexico and Brazil. DSP is much cheaper here in the US. The results are much better. Both countries have very high levels of mobile engagement. So you have people that are engaging a lot on mobile and reaching them through the DSP campaigns through other ad networks on other platforms is the best way to bring them to Amazon. Once they're in Amazon, then you can leverage the advertising tools that you have on Amazon to help them be successful. Other great platforms for advertising on are social media like Meta. Facebook and Instagram are really good platforms, and we actually look at social media usage In Mexico, for example, Mexico is in the top 5 worldwide in social media usage. So by running social media ads in Latin America and in Mexico specifically, you'll be able to drive people to your product pages that you may not see results where you may not see similar results from that in the US. And then finally, the goals here, we want to increase page visits and we want to increase conversion. So once we get people to the page, we can start doing retargeting with Amazon or within Mercado Libre and try to drive more sales from the people that are actually discovering our brand. The other ways to drive traffic, and there's various, but some of them are influencers. Local influencers are really good, as I already mentioned. Social media usage is really high, and that includes TikTok, that includes Instagram. So being able to reach people through your content or through social media or influencer content is a great way to drive traffic to Amazon. Affiliate marketing is another thing where we're seeing a lot of success in Latin America. So this is getting onto blogs, it's getting onto publications, newspapers, magazines, all these digital websites where you're driving traffic back to Amazon. And that's working very well for us in Latin America. Obviously, integrating across all platforms is another great way to drive sales. Amazon is just one platform in Latin America. Mercado Libre is actually bigger in Brazil, and it's about the same size as Amazon in Mexico. So you need to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the platforms, and that includes Instagram stores, that includes selling on TikTok, that includes selling on Meta. Like all of these different platforms are ways to help increase your sales in the platform, increase your sales in the marketplaces, mainly because there are so many people on social media. Again, and as I mentioned, there it is at the bottom. Mexico has one of the highest social media usages worldwide. I briefly just mentioned Mercado Libre, and I'm going to talk about it. When you're moving into Latin America, you need to focus on all platforms. Amazon is growing in Latin America, but when we look at it by country, it is not even the biggest platform in most countries in Latin America. So, for example, in Brazil, Mercado Libre is the largest e-commerce platform, and number 2 and 3, they still are on Amazon. It's Casas Bahias and Lojas Americanas. So if you focus just on one platform and don't focus on the other ones, it's going to be an unsuccessful expansion for your brand into Latin America. Likewise, in Mexico, Mercado Libre and Amazon are about tied. Mercado Libre is a little bit bigger. So making sure that you're on both platforms is extremely important. Obviously, customers are going to different places, so there's more chances of you having customers find your product. And the other way is that you can differentiate offerings on different platforms. So a good example of this is a lot of products or a lot of supplements in the US are not able to be sold on Amazon in Mexico, mainly because the requirements around ingredients are different in Mexico than the US. So that is one of the big challenges that a lot of brands face, is that they can only get their products onto Mercado Libre, or vice versa. They can only get their products onto Amazon instead of Mercado Libre because of these restrictions. So that's another thing to consider. And generally, like as I mentioned before, being everywhere is the best way to grow your brand and grow your brand exposure in Latin America or any country. So I always recommend launching on every platform that you can. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about fulfillment and why you should be using Amazon FBA and Mercado Full. Mercado Full is Mercado Libre's FBA equivalent. We always recommend using both. I mean, you want to make sure that you have FBM listings with a 3PL as a backup in case your inventory in these fulfillment networks goes out. So that'll keep making sure that your product is available for customers to buy. And the other great thing is that customers in Latin America aren't as Prime addicted as they are in the US. So if a product is not available through Prime, they are still willing to buy it, even though it might not arrive in the same time. The interesting thing at that point is that when we think of delivery times in the US that are not Prime or that are FBM, we usually think 3 to 5 days. In many instances here in Latin America, and specifically here in Mexico, you can get orders FBM same day because the fulfillment networks are so well developed down here. It's very common for motorbike delivery and there's literally times where we see orders coming in that are already delivered before we can even mark them as shipped on Amazon. And like that happens frequently. So it's one of the challenges of dealing with the actual FBM models down here, but we always recommend using both because obviously being in those give you a boost in the organic rankings on Amazon and Mercado Libre as well. Again, minimizing your shipping costs by distributing inventory between the two platforms. I briefly touched on that, so that is important. And obviously, high quality fulfillment is what is going to make customers happy. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that customers have a good experience, because if they leave us good reviews, they leave us good reputation on Mercado Libre, our products are going to show up higher. And obviously, we want good reviews on Amazon as well to make customers buy our product over our competitors. And finally, when we're looking at how do we retain customers beyond the initial purchase, obviously subscribe and save is a great feature available through Amazon. It's available in Mexico and Brazil as well. Accepting different payment options is also something that you need to consider. Buy now, pay later is something that's very popular in Mexico and Brazil. And being able to accept those payment options through Mercado Libre actually increases the likelihood that a consumer is going to buy your product. It costs you a little bit more to use BNPL, but it's actually going to lead to better results for you in the long term. And then finally, service, you obviously have to be giving customer service in the local language. You have to be responsive. One of the challenges that most brands face is dealing with the language barrier. So making sure that you have a customer service rep in the market you're expanding to is the other thing that you mainly want to consider. In the end, just to sum this up, the macro trends in Latin America are pointing to a growing market over the coming years. It's essential for you to be on every platform, but especially Mercado Libre, because it is the largest e-commerce platform in Latin America. And then different products will actually perform better on different marketplaces. So surprisingly enough, supplements actually perform better on Mercado Libre than they perform on Amazon. So there's very interesting trends where you see where people are going to certain platforms to buy products over others. And then finally, just make sure that you're, like I said, embracing change and leveraging Mercado Libre for growth. Mercado Libre is going to probably be one of the main sales channels for your products in Latin America. So making sure that you're really using that and leveraging it and giving it the time it needs to actually be successful is extremely important. If you're looking to learn more about expanding to Latin America, just get your phones out and you can just take a photo of this QR code and you can schedule a call with our team. We'll actually be able to provide you with a market analysis worth about $1,500, and that's going to help you understand whether your brand is actually going to be a good fit for Latin America. And that being said, next I'm going to kick it over to Alina. Alina's going to be talking again about boosting your Amazon sales worldwide. So Alina, feel free to take over.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. It's working, right?
Yep, we have it.
Okay. I'm gonna go right in since I think I may have done just a few too many slides. So I'm gonna be talking about 5 steps that are valid today for boosting your sales through improving your keyword rankings. Just because I'm pretty new to the community, I'm an Amazon seller since 2017. Actually, it's me and my husband together. We currently own 3 brands, and also we have our agency AZRank, which I launched in 2018, and we've helped quite a lot of sellers do better. Step number 1, listing optimization, and I don't have enough time to go too much into this, but I'm going to briefly touch the new Cosmo, which is the new algorithm in Amazon that needs us to optimize our listings for purchase intent. Since everybody's gonna be probably getting the slides, I left here 2 sources coming straight from Amazon publications explaining what Cosmo actually means. It's not there yet. They're working on it, implementing it in USA, but very fast. It will be present on all the marketplaces Amazon has, and that means all of us selling on every marketplace need to optimize our listings for this. Just in a few words, so basically Cosmo means that we need to take care of the user intentions. It's not necessarily all about keywords and data and words and search volume and conversion rates. It's also a common sense knowledge from user behaviors and interactions. Basically, Amazon wants to learn from the customers what they want, and through the help of the AI to serve them the products they want. Why do we care about this? Because our listings will be directly impacted because of the way they will be shown in the search results. So in order to optimize your product listings, in order to do this, you have to optimize your product listings to align more closely with customers' intentions. Use detailed and clear product title, description, metadata. I will go a little bit more into that later. And very important, sellers, this is coming straight from Amazon. Sellers should leverage data insights provided by Amazon. And I'm going to get to this on point number 2. So basically, Amazon is telling us, rely on the data we're giving you. Just a brief example, since, as I said, this is a very complex topic, but just to show you how it works. This is a search for a best face cream for women over 50. On the right, you have the search results, and I chose one, Bare Minerals. As you can see, there's pretty much keyword stuffing in the title, and using ChatGPT and then Helium 10, I was able to extract over 15 keywords that are in phrase or exact form in the title. So it's quite a lot of words in there. However, the total search volume of these keywords is somewhere around 8,000, which is not a lot especially for this niche. With Cosmo, and I use ChatGPT, you can use pretty much every AI tool, depending on how big the research can be. I came up with a different title, the one in red, which it has pretty much the same words, but not exactly the same. And it not only just enumerates a bunch of benefits, but also goes towards the buyer intent. For example, it says help skin retain moisture. All these points here are leading to improved discoverability. After I did the analysis again, this time there are a little bit less keywords as a number. However, the total search volume is almost double. It's around 15,000 this time. Of course, this is what we care about, right? To be on as high as possible in ranks for most keywords. So to conclude, I didn't put a conclusion here, it's towards the end. To conclude, buyer intent is the new name of the game. We need to learn what our customers want in order to write the listings that way. That's what Cosmo means. And one of the things Cosmo definition mentioned earlier is data from Amazon, right? And I call them the hidden gems in Search Central. It's called Search Query Performance and Product Opportunity Explorer. I know all marketplaces in Europe have this, so I'm not quite sure about the others. I think Japan has them as well. Search Query Performance and Product Opportunity Explorer. I will start with Product Opportunity Explorer and go a little bit through this to show an example of how to choose keywords for a launch, for example. This is how it looks. You can search by keyword or ASIN, and it's basically data from Amazon. They structure the results into niches. You can choose what you want, for example, capsules or powder in this example, and then you choose your niche. I chose the capsules, and then I go to search terms. And when you hit search terms, of course, there's a bunch more data in this, and it's worth looking at it from every point of view. But when you choose search terms, you will get a list of 25 keywords. These keywords are the top 25 ones that Amazon considers most relevant for this niche. So in order for Amazon to consider your listing and to help you boost your ranking by their own will, I mean, you need to exist on these keywords. However, many of them, and in a lot of niches, are very powerful. So it might cost you a lot to actually rank on these keywords. So that's why we will look at a bunch of long tails. After we do the search query performance, you can find them in brand analytics. And again, it gives you all the data that you need on those keywords. It gives you volume, it gives you conversion rates. If you combine the data from search query performance with the data coming from Amazon and Product Opportunity Explorer, you're going to get a very, very exact list of keywords to look at. So as I was saying, these are the keywords which Amazon considers relevant for your specific niche. So the way we do it, for example, we select 5 or 7 most relevant keywords, and then for each of them, another 5 keywords which are long tails. And then you create basically a snowball effect based on that. That should be your focus list of keywords for a new launch on any marketplace. And especially this works very, very well in Europe. This is an example, so it makes better sense what I try to explain. In Product Opportunity Explorer, you have, for example, dog harness, which is a 300,000 search volume keyword. It's very difficult to get ranked on that. PPC will be expensive, everything will be expensive, and take a while. However, if you combine that one with this 6 other keywords based on the same root keyword and combined all together, you will get there a lot easier. If you focus on the long tails, you will automatically rank on the main keyword. I call them more the main keywords, like dog harness, are more like browse keywords. People like search that keyword just to get an idea on what they want, and then they go and type in the long tail, which is the intent keyword, the intentional one. Going to number 3, user-generated content is another step every seller should do on any marketplace, especially in Europe, since this is very, very low. When I'm talking about user-generated content, I am talking about text, images, videos, any media that is created by users or consumers of an online platform, rather than by the platform professional content creators, which in our case are influencers. So in shorter phrase, I would say content that is created by regular people, normal people buying the product, not professional influencers which are getting paid or rewarded in order to create content for you. And why do I say that? Because influencers have their own role. I'm not saying that they are not important, they are very important. However, on Amazon, when people go and search, they want to see the real thing. They want to see other people experience, real experience, not somebody the seller paid for. And that is because that's very important, because there are lots of free spots to leverage on Amazon. There still are product videos, Q&A. A lot of people don't know that they can answer people's questions, customers' questions using videos, and that would mean a lot, because those videos will be on your product page and people can see them, and also Amazon posts. Here are a few examples. For example, these are the videos for this product or related video sections right below the listings. There is a lot of content that you can put here, unboxing, product demonstration, anything that you want to show your clients. And also this is the Q&A section. As you can see, it has 2 sections: add a video answer and add a written answer. And I think less than 5% of the sellers know about this, and they don't use it. So it's a very powerful tool. Again, don't use professional photos, don't use studio, just use real people. Get your family to do content for you, get your friends to buy the product, just somebody who is not professional. That's what people want to see in 2024. Getting to number 4, Japan. Japan recently became number 2 biggest marketplace in Amazon, with a population over 126 million people. They have over 100 million registered users, and it's making up up to 9% of Amazon's total GMV. And they have a culture they have a cult for online shopping, which is very important. It's growing very, very fast. We at EasyRank, we don't offer anything for Japan ourselves, but we have partnered just recently with devdevice.com, which is a great agency specialized in getting brands on Japan. And together we do pretty much everything from account setup to influencer management, everything that you need. I think, and I've spoken to, as I like to say, other people who are smarter than me. I think Japan will be the new gem in Amazon, and it's gonna happen pretty fast. And finally, getting to number 5, get a free Amazon account manager for 1 year. This is a very, very fresh new opportunity that we have offered through an agency. It's a program that Amazon opened for agencies to enroll brands or sellers who are either opening a new seller center account in any marketplace or is expanding to a new marketplace. So even if you're an established seller and want to go to Japan, for example, right now, or to Brazil, as Mike said, you can get 1 year free of internal strategic support straight from Amazon with your own dedicated account manager, who they brag will be a specialist in your category. So if you're in the beauty niche, they will get you a professional in the beauty category. We're just in the beginnings of enrolling brands, so I cannot tell you much yet, but I think it's worth getting a shot, considering the amount of money they charge for this on a regular basis. To sum up, the takeaways would be: start optimizing your listing for purchase intent on any and every marketplace. Try to get in your customer's mind and try to realize what they want when they type in a specific keyword or search term. Rely on data straight from Amazon, Product Opportunity Explorer, and Search Query Performance. What I showed you today with that small example of keyword is just like a tiny piece of what you can do with that data. Use UGC to win over your competitors, and I repeat, not influencers, real people creating content for your products. Consider Japan for brand expansion and get a free Amazon account manager if you don't have one already. This would be me and us, easyrank.com. If you need help with launch and ranking and Photo Live, if you need help with this type of UGC I explained, and QR code is to connect directly with me and have a chat. Thank you, and I hope this helped.
Awesome. Thank you for that presentation, Alina. Next up, we have Hristo is going to be talking about making customers love you on Amazon around the globe. So Hristo, take it away.
Hey guys, happy to be here. Let me share my presentation. All right. I'm not sharing the right thing. So can I select a screen that I'm sharing, or it goes directly to share screen? I can see right now.
You should be able to select. Yeah.
It's not giving me the option to select though. It's a bit of an issue.
Not sure. You should be able to select. It's showing from my end you can, so I don't know. Maybe you can move it over to that screen.
Yeah, but it's that's tricky because I had a different idea about that. Give me a sec. Okay, can you see my presentation? Hello?
Yep, we can see it now.
Yep.
All right, perfect. There you go. All right, so let me start with who I am. I am Hristo, the co-founder of Hyperzon. We are a full-scale Amazon marketing agency that specializes in helping D2C brands that are crushing it, driving traffic to their website, but they haven't figured out Amazon. They're maybe not on Amazon yet, or they have started, but it's not working very well for them. They're doing like 10-15% of what they're doing on their website. We start working with them and we match their website sales within a year. So this is what we do. And today I'm going to be talking about understanding local consumer behavior and cultural sensitivity across markets. I want to start with something that might be obvious, but not for many people. And it is that you need to see your target audience as actual people and not customers or like some robots or some indications on your screens. And I believe this will help you better communicate with them overall. So saying all of that, I've included something in my presentation that we're seeing more and more often these days, and people get offended extremely easily in 2024. So you need to be careful with that. And I'm going to be giving you like 5 steps to winning a global marketing strategy. And I'm going to start with gender stereotyping. You need to be very aware of that. As conversations around gender-related issues become common among younger generations, parents, and the LGBTQ community, we're now seeing increased efforts by brands and institutions to shift the paradigm of gender stereotyping and gender identity to favor more gender-neutral terminology and remain inclusive and reflect progressive changes with the country's culture. So beware of that for sure. You need to watch out for slang words and idioms when moving to, let's say, from the US to pretty much anywhere else, because idioms tend not to have the same or equivalent translation in other languages. Some localized phrases also tend to convey imagery that simply doesn't fit the culture of the target market. If uncertain, keep idioms to a minimum or avoid using them altogether. Another important thing is adapting images, as it's very, very important, even more than words even sometimes. It's best to take a prudent approach when choosing imagery for your products to ensure you don't cause offense to customers in international markets. Keep clear of controversial images, religious symbols, or iconography, and take the time to just study your market ahead of designing products for international audiences. Another thing to do is revise your product packaging for physical products. It's important that brands conduct the necessary cultural sensitivity checks to understand how different cultures respond to certain imagery, ideas, and symbols. And lastly, implement a cultural sensitivity framework into your wider marketing strategy. If you plan to market your brand across different cultures using the same marketing message everywhere, it's not going to work. So tailoring your marketing strategies to each culture and country, respectively, will help you effectively sell your product in new areas, compete with local brands, and build loyalty among local customers. All right. So moving forward is going to be creating converting SEO for any marketplace. So, for example, I'm going to give a direct example. When you're selling kitchen appliances in Japan, you might promote a rice cooker by highlighting features important for Japanese cooking, which could be different from features promoted in Europe, for example. So remember, a product that's a bestseller in one country might not be popular in another, and vice versa. Therefore, always research the product sales volume in different markets before proceeding, as it might not even make sense to sell a specific product of your portfolio. You might choose another one that might be performing much better, actually. So keyword localization is extremely important. Translating keyword is insufficient. Identifying local search terms used by your target audience is crucial for optimizing your product listings effectively. Another thing is predicting demand. So monitoring local search trends enables you to gauge the demand for your products in a specific region and tailor your inventory accordingly. Third thing is going to be enhanced visibility. Incorporating localized keywords in your listings and backend search terms boosts your product's visibility in local search results, and this aids your discoverability on the marketplace. So, the role of copywriting is also extremely important in international listings. And the cultural sensitivity, like I've mentioned before, is important. So you want to show that you respect the local customs, and this enhances your brand credibility over time. So it's worth, you know, doing it from the get-go. Another thing is emotional appeal. So the effective copy evokes emotions that transcend language, forging a connection between your product and the desires of your target audience. Basically, I mean, these are like basic marketing things, but you can implement them for any market that you basically step on. And the last one is going to be like brand voice alignment. So adapting your brand voice to suit the sensibility of each market is going to ensure authenticity and reliability. So take the time, for sure. Let's get to the legal considerations. As you might imagine, like similar to the US, when you step into different markets, there are all like tons of other regulations and taxes that you need to be aware of. So I definitely advise consulting a local tax expert, because every country has its own set of tax and customs guidelines, and it's best to consult a local professional who can guide you through their country's complex taxation systems. Don't try to figure it out on your own, because it might take you a year instead of taking you just a few months. Then you need to obtain the necessary permits. Apart from starting an LLC, you might have to obtain other foreign licenses and permits. Some regions are stricter than others. So don't expect that, you know, you're going to launch your product in Japan or Germany and start selling from the get-go. It's just not going to happen. So I advise you to also check the taxes levied on your product's category. Ask your partner broker about the taxes imposed on your specific niche and industry. As a general rule, high-risk categories get taxed the highest. And always label your goods properly. You could get accused of smuggling if you ship products that are incorrectly labeled and categorized. Again, taxes vary per product category. So, tax implications, shipping, logistics, and customer support. Basically, taxation variability comes to the fact that navigating tax requirements across multiple jurisdictions demands meticulous planning to prevent financial setbacks. For instance, in Europe, it is crucial not to opt in for Amazon Pan-EU unless you possess VAT numbers in all the involved countries. Without these, sellers risk facing significant taxation issues and potential fines across multiple countries. So be aware of that. We're going to get to the Pan-European later on in that presentation. So when it comes to shipping strategies, diverse regions require adaptive shipping strategies that accommodate customs, delivery times, and costs. So beware. I'm gonna get to the next slide, which we're talking about optimizing your fulfillment and shipping. Basically, when going to the EU, you're gonna face a choice to go with Pan-European FBA or the European Fulfillment Network, or just do multi-country inventory. So what are the differences actually? When it comes to inventory placement, the differences are as follows. For Pan-European FBA, they require the sellers to send their inventory to multiple Amazon fulfillment centers across Europe, then automatically distribute the inventory. They distribute the inventory to the most suitable fulfillment center based on demand and customer location. On the other hand, the European Fulfillment Network, the sellers can store their inventory in a single European country of their choice, and then the inventory is made available for sale across all eligible European marketplaces. And then your third option is just to send inventory to the countries that you're going to be selling to. When you're just getting started and you're not a big brand, this might be the best idea. Then when it comes to fulfillment and shipping, with the Pan-European FBA, when an order is received, Amazon selects the inventory from the most appropriate fulfillment center within the European network, and they quickly move it to the customer, which could be more cost effective compared to the European fulfillment network, where when an order is placed, Amazon fulfills the order from the seller's chosen fulfillment center. And the order may need to be shipped across borders, resulting in longer delivery times and usually higher shipping costs. And the last thing I want to talk about is the cost structure. So with the Pan-European FBA, it involves higher fulfillment fees, but provides the advantages of having inventory stored strategically in multiple countries, potentially reducing shipping costs and delivery times. Compared to the EFN, where the sellers typically pay lower fulfillment fees, but may incur higher shipping costs due to cross-border shipping. So basically, you need to make your choice. And again, with the multi-country inventory, you can just get started with just Germany or just France or just Italy, see how things are going there before moving to any of the other two options. So yeah, you know how it is with taxes. The only thing sure in life is debt and taxes. So be careful, guys. So that's going to be from me. You can find me by going to our website, hyperzon.io, and you can book a 30-minute call with me. I'll be happy to help out your brand. And yep, if you have any questions at the end of this panel, I'll be happy to answer them. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for that, Hristo. And yeah, it's just a reminder, we will try to fit a Q&A session in. It looks like we're running a little short on time, but if you have any questions, feel free to submit them in the chat or submit them in the Q&A section. And myself and the panelists will try to answer them for you. Next up, we have Saif, who's going to be talking about how to organize an Amazon team to manage multiple markets successfully. So Saif, why don't you take over for us?
Perfect. Just give me a second. Let me pop screen share open for you guys, and I'll take you through the slides I have prepared for today. All right, here we go. All right. Let me see. All right, you guys let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep, we've got it.
Just close the attendees list. Okay, perfect. So today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite topics. That's building and managing a team that can handle multiple marketplaces. Because obviously, as you guys have seen from the previous presentations, it's obviously very tough work to actually set all of this stuff up. You guys probably already know from your home-based marketplace, which is most likely the US for most of you, how tough it is to manage one country. And then once you multiply this across 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 countries with different languages, different buying patterns, different ways of running PPC, just because the cost per clicks and the actual economics of doing PPC are different in each marketplace, especially for the different categories you have. You end up having a lot of work to do. You just don't know what the right thing to do is in each marketplace. And one of two things generally happens. And this is what I've seen with most of the sellers who we've onboarded before working on their accounts. Either they completely neglect this marketplace after some time, like they know that they're making most of their money in the US or whatever their main marketplace is. So they end up setting up a couple campaigns on a few of their ASINs in the other marketplace. It only grows to like 0.5% of the US revenue, and they never really turn it into a significant channel. And then you have the other example that I usually see is where they don't give up on the second marketplace, but they never make much progress. They don't know how to produce good content. They don't know how to make good ads. And they end up getting stuck. And US continues to be like 98% of their revenue. So what I have seen solve this for most of the sellers that I've worked with one-on-one, or the sellers that I've just spoken to as friends, is hiring the right people, right? You want to have people that can help you localize, people that can help you run ads, people who can even help you with reporting, people that can help you make sure that all of the pending tasks are done across all of the marketplaces, because you're going to have too much to manage. So you won't be able to track every single thing in every marketplace and track whether your budgets are being spent or not, and track how your products are performing on all of these different things. So that's why it's essential to focus your time instead on hiring the right team. And a team could include agencies, it could include freelancers. It doesn't necessarily have to mean like full-time employees or like individual contributors. A team can include a variety of different people. And I'm going to take you through how I've been hiring teams personally for my company. So people who help me build and grow AI Hello. And then I've also been hiring teams to help us run and manage the Amazon accounts of our clients. So I'm just going to take you through these slides. I have kept them text typed on purpose because I want everything to be super raw, because this topic is pretty important for me, because it's something I've been working on for many, many years. So the first slide I have here is the different type of employees you guys can hire. Number one is you have ICs. ICs are individual contributors. That's what it stands for. And these are the people actually doing the work, like the actual day-to-day stuff, right? After that, you have managers. Managers are there to do several things. Number one, to make sure that all of the contractors and the individual contributors are actually doing all of their work. And it's up to standard, because you're going to have a lot of listing content being produced, a lot of localization happening, a lot of campaigns going up, and you won't be able to track whether everything is going well or not across 7 different countries. It's not realistic. So managers will help you track that. They'll be able to find issues for you and suggest potential solutions, and they should be able to also create reports for you to help you understand where things are going and how to improve them. Lastly, you have contractors. These are people who are usually as crucial as managers and ICs, but you don't necessarily need them full time. They're just people I like to keep in my Rolodex for whenever something goes wrong. And for example, at AI Hello, we have catalog managers as contractors. Whenever you need catalog help for one of our customers, I just have them come in, fix the catalog issue for our customers, and I just have them bill me for it on an hourly basis. So these people I don't necessarily hire full-time unless you guys need them for high volume work. These people I keep part-time, but they're still as crucial as ICs and managers. Right, in terms of the actual people you need, for ICs, I generally recommend at least 2 people. One of them is a PPC specialist, and this can be replaced with an agency, which I'll get into later. But the PPC specialist needs to have experience managing multiple marketplaces, because if someone's only done the US, they won't know what it's like in the other countries. You can't ask someone who's done US only to manage like Japan for you, manage like countries in Latin America, manage countries in the Middle East. They're just not going to be familiar with how these markets work. So hopefully that person has managed multiple marketplaces at once, so that they can handle the workload and understand how to prioritize it, and then have managed similar marketplaces to the ones that you want to operate in, just so that they're familiar with the whole dynamic there and how things work. And then finally, I prefer someone who can manage a catalog of our size and has managed revenue and ad spend of our size. And also, if they have experience in our specific category, then that's obviously a plus. Since categories differ a lot, especially once you go across different countries. I had a podcast with Mike, I think maybe half a year ago, where we spoke about the different categories that do well and don't do well in different countries. So even in the US, the performance of categories varies a lot. And then once you look into the other categories, you'll realize that this difference is even more pronounced. So you hopefully should be able to find someone who has ran ads and ran Amazon accounts in your categories across multiple marketplaces for a brand of a similar size as yours. And that will teach them a lot about the specific things that they have to do and the specific things they should avoid to actually make your business work out. Because if you got someone who's only done like home and kitchen in the US, and you ask them to do supplements in Italy, it's generally not going to work out that well. So this is a crucial hire, and this person is going to manage all marketplaces. Unless you have a massive account, you could do multiple PPC specialists. But if you're like a medium-sized 7-figure seller or an early 8-figure seller, then you generally only need one guy to run your stuff. And this is replaceable with an agency. An agency might even be better, depending on whether you guys are hiring US-based or not. The agency could end up being cheaper than the IC, and they hire their own talent. So you guys don't have to go out and recruit and figure out if the person's good or not. You could potentially just get a referral from an agency or get like a marketplace analysis or an audit from an agency that you haven't heard about before and just compare and see if you guys are able to hire a better IC than the team that they've put together. And if not, then just go with the agency and save yourself the headache. After that, I usually have a general VA. The general VA doesn't have any specific tasks. They usually just go by the name Amazon VA. Sometimes you can just get them as contractors. I prefer to have them full-time. You can get a better deal if it's full-time. If it's part-time, you might end up having to pay them like $10 to $15 an hour. If it's full-time, you could probably get someone for like $500 a month from Asia or like the Middle East or Africa. These people don't have specific tasks. They just need to know their way around the Amazon. They can do things like customer support on Amazon, check up on orders and any other micro tasks that you guys have, because a lot of these things will pop up once your business expands. After that, we hire contractors. So for contractors, I usually hire 3 different people or 3 different types of people. I hire copywriters and designers. I have these put as one person. Obviously, it's usually not going to be a single person doing both jobs. I just didn't have the space on this site to put both of them in separately. So with copywriters and designers, you need 2 things. Number one, you need to perfect your home-based listings. So if you guys are in the US, you need to make sure your US stuff is good before you expand abroad. And then once you have that in place, you need to start moving these listings into the other countries and localizing them. So you need copywriters who understand both English and the other languages of the marketplaces that you're trying to expand in. It doesn't have to be one guy or girl. Like, you could get multiple copywriters and you can get people specifically for localization. So optimize the home-based listings first, and then move those over into the other marketplaces, start translating the stuff, see if any design elements need to be changed. For example, if you go to Amazon.jp, Japan's marketplace, you'll notice that the listing content there and the design of like the brand storefronts are super different to what you'd see in the US. So it differs a lot by marketplace. So ideally, you don't only want to translate the text, but you also want to bring designers and copywriters from each of these countries to fix your stuff up for you. This can be very difficult to do. It's already extremely hard to find good copywriters and good designers who also have experience with Amazon. So doing that for your, US marketplace is already difficult. Doing that at a good cost is even more difficult. Like, you can find good people. It's going to cost you a lot of money because it's very hard to offshore something like this, because a lot of people offshore just don't have the design sense or the language capabilities to produce good content and good listing like copy. So usually for this, I just go with a content and localization agency. There are a lot of good agencies out there where they're going to create your listing content for you. For the US, they're going to do an amazing job on the A+, the listing images, the titles, the bullet points, the storefront and everything. And then they already have all of the international talent that can translate and adjust this stuff. So you can launch in Japan tomorrow. You can launch in Latin America. You can do the same for Europe, for the Middle East, and all of these other marketplaces that you're interested in launching in. So for this, I generally just go with an agency. After that, we have a catalog specialist. This is what I mentioned earlier. You guys are going to have to list a lot of product, a lot of variations, make a lot of changes, maybe deal with some seller support issues. So always have a catalog specialist handy. I generally pay around $8 an hour for this, and you only need them for a few hours a month. So it's like a couple $100 a month at most if you're using them extensively. If not, it's usually sub $100 to have a catalog specialist on your Rolodex part-time. This can also be outsourced to an agency. There are different agencies like Seller Candy. I'm not sure if they cover all the services that a regular catalog specialist would do, but there are some agencies out there where you could pay them like sub 1K per month and they do the work for you. So if you don't want to, or if you don't care as much about like bringing the rate down or saving a few $100 a month, you could just go out and hire an agency, and they generally have more cross-marketplace experience than the individual catalog specialists that you'd find would have. After that, the final hire is a manager. So the person I hire is a director of marketplaces. They don't necessarily have to have experience as a director of marketplaces. They could have been like a PPC specialist or a director of Amazon ads, or anyone who just has a really good understanding of how Amazon works and how to manage people. Your director of marketplaces will be dealing with all of your agencies. They'll be dealing with your contractors. They'll be dealing with any freelancers you work with, any ICs, and then they're also going to be managing your marketplaces for you. So they're going to be setting the marketplace level budgets, the product level budgets, the KPIs that people need to hit. So this is the ACOS target we need, the TACOS target we need, and so on. So they're going to give the direction for each marketplace, and they're going to keep track of how the markets are performing and how the products in those markets are performing. And then they're going to create reports, which basically help you follow along, like stay updated with what's happening. So in a report from my director of marketplaces, I'd want to see things like the status on tasks from the different teams we have. So how's my listing content in Japan coming along? How are the ads in Poland that were doing bad for the last couple of months improving after we hired this new agency? So generally, I have them aggregate all of the pending tasks for me and give me a status update. And I also have them aggregate all of the numbers so I can see how I'm doing in all of my marketplaces in one Google Doc or PDF. And then after that, they're responsible for us staying in stock, assigning budgets and KPIs, and just hiring and firing people over time based on how we're performing. Let me see. I don't know why the site's not switching over. Here we go. So finally, the software that you guys would need. These aren't necessary, but these are nice to have, especially if you're doing multiple marketplaces and you're driving significant volume. Generally, I try to use a repricer. If you have a large catalog and you're in multiple markets, you could potentially be using a repricer to reprice your products automatically based on demand, profit, revenue, BSR, and a bunch of other metrics. There are some tools out there like Prophecy and Trellis that can do this for you, and it can increase your net profit. After that, you can use a PPC software to manage all of your bids, your negation, your harvesting, your day parting, your placement boosts, all of that good stuff across all marketplaces. Huge, huge, huge time saver. We offer our own PPC software. You can go to www.aihello.com to check it out. Number 3 is profit analytics. You just want a dashboard where you can see all of your marketplaces. You can use something like Merchant Spring for this. You can see all of the countries you operate in one place pretty much, and you can see all of your numbers and see how you're performing very quick. And then finally, I just use a project management tool so I can keep everything in the same place and I can update the status on any tasks that we have pending immediately. And then we just share our work like over Teams, and I just give people feedback based on the type of work that they're sending over. That's pretty much it. Just to summarize, I have different software tools that we use to lessen the workload. And then I have a director of marketplaces on top. And after that, I have my ICs, which is a PPC specialist and a general VA, or, these are replaceable with an agency. Besides the VA, that's kind of crucial. The PPC specialist is replaceable with a PPC agency. And then I generally have contractors, which would be catalog people, copywriters, graphic designers, and people to help with localization. And it's all about reporting, dashboards, and just keeping everything in one place and staying on top of your numbers. And then at that point, you should be good to go. We offer something similar. So we can do localization, listing content. We offer PPC software, PPC services. We're a full service agency plus a software vendor. And we're actually offering full service management for free for sellers doing above $10,000 a month in ad spend. You could be in one marketplace or multiple, it doesn't matter. And you get 1 month for free if you are US or Canada based and you spend over $10,000 per month on ads. You can reach out at www.aihello.com to claim a free month with no strings attached. That's it for my presentation. I hope you guys found this useful.
Awesome. Thank you for all that information, Saif. That was very helpful. Next up, and our last speaker today is Tahir, who's going to be talking about optimizing pricing as it relates to Amazon and how you can look beyond Amazon. So Tahir, please take it away.
Yes, sir. Okay, guys. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to go over, do a little rewind. Mike Begg talked about sell everywhere. That's our motto, RockitSeller. We are the only, not the only, but a very different kind of multi-channel fulfillment, listing and fulfillment software. We let you fulfill your orders from different marketplaces, and we integrate with about 12 now. Using your FB inventory, we let you sell, seamlessly list and sell on TikTok, eBay, Walmart, Shopify, Newegg, and several other marketplaces. So sell everywhere was the overarching point of Mike's presentation. Piggybacking on that, Alina spoke about Cosmos and A9. They're very, very helpful. Amazon has switched over from A9, which was profit driven, to customer behavior driven, which is very counterintuitive to even Amazon, because they're all about money. And Hristo, buddy, there are three realities in life now: death, taxes, and Amazon fees. So there used to be two realities, death and tax, but now we have three: death, tax, and Amazon fees. They'll always go up. So this slide is a part of the presentation, a webinar that we did yesterday on getting ready for Prime Day 2024. Came in very handy. I didn't have to prepare anything, and it's fresh on my mind. So when I look at pricing as the present future, whereas your rankings and reviews are your past future. So that's the way you cannot do anything to, the only thing that you control as far as selling online is pricing. Everything else beyond that, your rankings and reviews, they're a function of your performance in the past and will be your performance in the future. Whereas pricing is what you have control over now and in the future. So Prime Day is coming up. Hopefully you guys are ready for it. Pricing plays a key role in your e-commerce journey, in your e-commerce success. There are different types of pricing strategies. These are not specifically for 2024, Prime Day 2024, but they're applicable year-round. There are people that do cost plus pricing. They sum up the price, all the costs, and add a profit percentage. On top of that, very competitive. I don't advise you use it for Prime Day. For Prime Day, you should do competitor research. Go to Camel, see what discounts and coupons have your competitors offered in the past for the past Prime Days, and try to mimic them over the year. Imitation is the best form of flattery and is the easiest way where you can replicate success. The wheel is round, it doesn't get any rounder. So replicate success as much as possible. Dynamic pricing. This is one of the most crucial, and Saif touched upon this, that if you are doing any amount of volume, you will quickly realize that you cannot be glued to your monitor and changing your price every second. And depending on how volatile your ASIN is and how low your BSR is, prices can change almost nanoseconds. So you actually need a tool to preserve your sanity. Dynamic pricing will go a long way. It's a great investment for you. I know it was for me. There's a reason we built PriceWise, which is our automated repricer, and I didn't build it for others. I'm an e-commerce seller. If you don't already know, I've been selling since 2017, new kid on the block compared to other people. But I quickly realized that you cannot get away from your monitor, from your computer or your app, Amazon Seller app, if you do not have, if you're changing pricing so often. So we built up repricer. I built a repricer with my team. We used it ourselves. Currently, we support Amazon and Walmart, and we have sellers that are subscribed to a service and they just use PriceWise to manage their pricing. Very crucial. If you even if you do 10 SKUs, you'll quickly realize that you cannot afford to be sitting there and changing prices. Now, gone are the days where you could fly solo and sell only on Amazon. With Amazon's ever increasing fees and the influx of new sellers, it has become impossible for you to make a buck. At least it has become almost impossible for me to make a buck, and I'm sure everyone is nodding their head in agreement. So that's the reason when I started 2019, we built our first integration with eBay, and from that point, we haven't stopped. Currently, I sell on all the marketplaces that we serve. It was RockitSeller came about from a need of my own, and I quickly realized that others in the market can really benefit from it. So the other thing, when you're doing Prime Day, and I'm talking about Prime Day specifically because it's coming up, and people are expecting deals. So make your hopefully you guys have already cut out your deals and they're ready on Amazon, but offer coupons, leverage your subscriber list. And I know we're running short on time, so I'm going to wrap it up quick. Offer BOGOs, bundling works like anything, and offer discounts on bundle, so you can really take advantage of Prime Day. But this should be a strategy all year long. The number one thing, do your research, DYR, do your competitor research, mimic them as much as possible, and don't be shy to imitate them or copy them. It's the easiest path and the lowest path to less resistance to online success. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mike, and everyone for putting everything together. Just a quick, this is how you can get in touch with us, with me. If you want to scan this QR code, it will take you straight to my LinkedIn page, support@rockitseller.com. And if you guys would like to sign up, this is the URL. So with that, I'm going to end up. I know people are waiting to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tahir. I appreciate that. And it was a great presentation as well. We do have a few questions. We have a little time for them, so we'll probably try to get through as many as we can. First one, I believe this is for Alina. What are the most common mistakes that sellers make when it comes to their BSR ranking?
I think we're talking about keyword ranking rather more than BSR ranking.
Okay.
I think the most common mistake is going after, recently at least, going after just 2 or 3 keywords which are huge, and you're gonna fight the world in order to to see who wins and pay a lot of money to PPC and lower your price, since we spoke about all that here. However, the answer to that is that there are a lot of other keywords that are converting much better if you're ranking high on them. And those are the long tails. Those are the keywords that are more specific and more relevant to your product rather than the main keyword. So I think that would be like the number one. And I will mention just another one because I know we're limited on time. Second mistake would be to just focus on traffic from Amazon. Those times are long gone, and we need to be aware that we need to diversify the traffic that comes to our listing. And that, I'm not going to go too much into that, but you all know there are blogs, there are influencers, there's Google ads, there's press articles, there's like a million things you can do. Just don't rely on Amazon. Thanks.
Can I add something, Mike?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Oh, one of the most common mistakes I've seen people sellers do is keyword stuffing. Oh, they stuff keywords.
Yeah, that too.
Amazon hates that. So be careful, guys. Don't do that. That's the easiest way to lose your ranking.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. You need to write texts for humans and not for robots, basically. Hook them up with some things that they're going to really like and appreciate, rather than just staffing keywords over there.
Awesome. And I think the next question is actually for you, Hristo, so it'll keep you on. How do you understand cultural sensitivity across markets? That's interesting.
Yeah, this well, I'm gonna give for example just Japan, because I was there recently, actually in March, and I can describe Japan like being in another world. You know, when you're in Japan, you're basically everything that we know of the Western world is completely different. The way they converse, the way they act, the way they, everything about them is different. So if your texts even are written in the same manner as for the US markets, where let's say Americans are more cocky and you know the text might be written in a completely different manner. For Japan, you might want to tone it down. You might want to see what they are going to appreciate about a product compared to the American users, and because it might be a completely different thing, and in most of the times also the products that are very popular in Japan are completely different than the ones in the US. Of course, it's not the same for all products, but you know, there are many differences like that that I can pinpoint. It just everything is different about the way they perceive content. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I can definitely understand that from being an American versus being in other countries. Awesome, thank you for that answer. I believe the next one's for Saif. How much do I know, or how much should I invest in teams and software when opening in a new marketplace?
Yeah, so it depends on the marketplace, and obviously how much effort it is. Like if you were US based moving to Canada, maybe you don't even have to hire any extra people for that. It depends how gradual you're going to be too. Like if you're going to open up 5 new marketplaces at once and they're all in different countries with different languages, you need to ship your inventory out. It's a different story. So it's a very nuanced question. Depends how many marketplaces you're looking at, which marketplaces they are, the size of those marketplaces, whether they use the same language as the marketplace you're currently in. So it really depends. I look at it as a percentage of revenue as well. Like if you're only doing $200,000-$300,000 a year of sales in your home market, which I assume for most of you is going to be the US, you can't go out and hire a $30,000 a month team. So I can't give you a specific answer like, hey, this is exactly how much you guys should be spending when you expand into new marketplaces. I just say spend as little as possible, not in the way that you underinvest. Like don't cheap out and hire bad talent and end up complaining later about the results. More so just be scrappy with it. Like if you want to get new listings up, like maybe don't hire the guy who's going to charge you $5,000 per listing. Try to piece it together with some people that you could hire part-time from these specific countries that you're launching in. Try to see if you can make your current graphic designer work for the new marketplace. So try to be as scrappy as possible, especially if you're a small to medium-sized brand. And then just always tie it back to the complexity of this new launch and how much effort it's going to take, and also how different it is from the marketplace you're currently in.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Saif. That's a good breakdown on everything. Next question, I believe, is for you, Tahir. How can I impact my bottom line by optimizing pricing?
Very good question. If you want to really maximize your bottom line, there are multiple strategies. You can use anchor pricing, you can use charm pricing, the way you advertise and go create your PPC ads, your product targeting ads. It is a mix of these strategies put together. There's no clear-cut answer to this, but it's a work in progress, and it's a combination of all these things. You start with listing optimization, make sure you understand the difference between index and ranking, make sure your listings are indexed, then you work on ranking. Without that, you should not even think about investing money in PPC. Once you get into PPC, you analyze your competitors. Once you get a good hang of your keywords, that will tell you where your pricing needs to be. Because if you're getting good impressions and not enough clicks, that points you to the fact that you may need to adjust pricing. So that's where it all comes into play, using a dynamic pricer integrated with your ads management and a listing optimizer. So it's a culmination of all your efforts that impacts your bottom line. There's no clear-cut answer. I wish I could give you one, but I would be lying if I did that.
Awesome. Thank you for that in-depth answer as well. And finally, we have time for one more question. This one is actually for me. Should I focus on expanding to Brazil or Mexico first? You should focus on Mexico first. Brazil is an incredibly complex marketplace when it comes to a variety of different things, taxes, fulfillment. Mexico is a much easier transition for sellers selling in the US. When we look at proximity, that's one thing. Logistics, its expectations are very similar to what you would see in the US. In Brazil, when we look at logistics, it's very difficult. There's no major highway system throughout the entire country like we see in the US, like we see in Mexico. Most long haul shipping is actually done by boat. So if you're going from the north to the south of the country, you're shipping it by boat, not by car or not by truck. All this leads to longer delay times. It leads to a little bit more headaches around the logistics piece. So I always recommend expanding to Mexico first because it's probably going to be the easiest, most least painful transition that you're going to have. So, and with that, we're going to wrap up today. I want to thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you coming to listen to us today. And I really appreciate all of the panelists that were able to come speak. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.